67B, Addendum, consideration of support in the amount of $26,000 for the Lake County Economic Development Corporation and $34,000 for the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. Ben Rickelman, we'll go ahead and give the floor to you.
Good morning, Board. Ben Rickelman, Deputy County Administrative Officer. I'm here with a funding request for two different organizations, the Lake County Economic Development Corporation and the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. There was an appearance before the board a few weeks ago regarding the chamber. Since then, there's been a few developments, which I believe are important for consideration. First, the board and the chamber have decided to do, I guess, what we call a soft merger. So they would remain separate organizations, but they would share an executive director, who will be Nicole Flora, who's currently the executive director for the EDC. Nicole has a large amount of economic development experience in Lake County, has worked and set up several different programs. I think this will be good for both organizations. Both of their boards have explored how this will impact their operations and what Nicole can bring. It also provides the chamber some cost savings, which is important with having a part-time director. So they are on their own working for more efficiencies. There's also planning regarding kind of the chamber's programming and what direction that might go, and that has sounded promising. And then regarding the EDC, so the EDC has since 2019 received a grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's the Rural Business Development Grant. It's about $109,000 annually. They were anticipating that being awarded this year, and that has not happened. So they've reached out to and have been working with Congressman Thompson's office to try to figure out what's going on with it. They have not gotten a response at the moment. The administration office has also started working with Paragon to try to identify and have them receive the funds. So with all that taken into consideration, we're coming back with this funding request. I think I'm more supportive of it this time than a few weeks ago because of this new structure. I think will really be beneficial for entrepreneurial support in Lake County. I think the EDC does a bunch of good programming. And so the county has supported the EDC with a $10,000 annual match for this RBDG. So, and just to kind of cover what all the EDC does, it's part of the Small Business Development Center network. So it provides free one-on-one consulting service, which I think is really important. It is part of a national network through the Small Business Administration. It can be both kind of experts on certain types of business operations and then with the type of industry. They also have a Spanish language program, which plugs into the Hispanic SBDC network, which I also think is really important. They have a USDA revolving loan portfolio that supports small business. And so through the last several years in Lake County, we've built out this ecosystem to support small business. We also have the CBDG microenterprise program, which isn't part of this, but I think complements it well. And so I think there's certain operational efficiencies here. There's stronger collaboration. And then there's this unexpected funding. I know there was the concern raised regarding sometimes the chambers can be political organizations. They're 501c6. I think that's an important consideration. Previous agreements between the county and the chamber that happened in the 2010s, there's been annual agreements which specifies the funding cannot be used for any political matters. So I'd be comfortable with an agreement of that sort, and the chamber has been supportive of that. The chamber is also, they've stated they've gone in more of a convener role than political advocacy. So like the Lake Pillsbury Town Hall, and that's what they want to do in this upcoming year. So it doesn't, I think those are good strategies to address those concerns. But also, and I'm just trying to think through how to structure this. So I think that addresses most of the concerns. We do, so the EDC, if they receive the rural business development grant, they would repay the amount. So that's what we're concentrating on right now, but where federal funding stands at the moment, we're not sure. So we want to have this continuity of service, and I think this funding would really assist with that. We have Nicole Flora here. Nicole, do you want to add any comments?
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, Lake County Supervisors. My name is Nicole Flora, and I'm the Executive Director of the Lake County Economic Development Corporation. Before I share my statement, I'd like to present a letter of support from the EDC's Board President. Unfortunately, he wasn't here to speak on behalf of this request today, but he did send this to the county offices after hours last night, so I printed some copies for you to have in your records. I want to thank you for considering this joint funding request submitted in partnership with the Lake County Chamber of Commerce and the Visitor Center. The EDC was founded under a different name but similar mission in 1987. Since then, through various iterations, it has provided support to your local businesses. First, with a locally managed loan program, which we still continue today, and later with free one-on-one business advising, workshops, and leading initiatives like industry events, such as the Restaurant Expo, the Restaurant Week, and the Heart Hub, among many others. However, this year we face a serious challenge. Our USDA Rural Business Development Grant expires on September 30. The federal office has yet to inform partners of the plans for their next allocation of funding. Without the requested support, the EDC's ability to deliver services is at risk. So that's why this joint request is so important. By co-locating and sharing staff with the Lake County Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center, we can create a lean, efficient model that reduces overhead and maximizes impact. This funding will allow us to retain key personnel, continue our programming, and ensure that Lake County businesses, entrepreneurs, and visitors have access to the resources that they need. Thank you for considering partnering with our agencies to keep the momentum going while our funding remains in flux. With your support, we can continue building a resilient business and tourism economy that reflects the best of Lake County.
Just like to add a few other notes. So this funding request would come from funds that are currently allocated for the future. I'm going to come to the board planning October 7th for a fee deferral program. So just the top line amount with the budget a few weeks ago. But I think it's still reasonable to operate to capitalize the fund with that reduction. So it'd go from 900,000 to 840,000. So that is a deferral for primarily impact fees to encourage development in the county. And I think that's really important, and this can definitely help on the margins for that. But to balance that and keeping our entrepreneurial small business support system strong is why I thought it was a good decision, or at least a recommendation for that shift. And then, does anyone from the chamber want to speak briefly?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Good morning, good afternoon, Lake County Board of Supervisors. My name is Amanda Martin, and this is my last week as being CEO of the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. So if you recall the last time that I was here advocating for the County of Lake to reestablish the funding of the Chamber's operation of the Vista Point Visitor Center, discussion was had about looking at ways that all of our different organizations could collaborate. And today, what we're really excited about is that we're bringing you just that solution. So through partnership with the Economic Development Corporation and shared executive leadership with Nicole Flora, this is a really wonderful proposal, in my opinion. So this proposal has been approved and enthusiastically backed by both the Lake County Chamber of Commerce Board Directors and the Economic Development Corporation Board Directors. So I just want to refresh and reiterate why the original funding request came before you from the Chamber. And that funding request is for the Lake County Chamber of Commerce to reestablish funding support from the County of Lake for the Chamber's operation of the Vista Point Visitor Center, which is a county-designated facility and function. So the County of Lake and the Lake County Chamber of Commerce have had this partnership for over 22 years, where the Chamber is operating this visitor center. But as I've said, for the past 6 years, the Lake County Chamber of Commerce has received zero funding support from the County of Lake to do this. So again, that means that the Chamber's small business membership are the ones keeping the doors open of the visitor center. That's what all of this is about from the Chamber's perspective. So this is what this request is for. It's not for the Chamber's programs or advocacy work. So in a commitment to collaboration, the Chamber Board of Directors have decided to share our original request of $60,000 with the Economic Development Corporation, granting the EDC $26,000 and lowering the Chamber's request to $34,000. So again, but we're excited about this proposal. And what we respectfully request from you today is to also be a part of this collaboration. And I personally think that this can set a great example and precedence for all of Lake County, that we are always stronger when working together, collaborating, and uplifting each other's work. So thank you for your consideration of this item today. And just on a personal note, thank you for the opportunity to work with you over my tenure here at the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. It's been a true pleasure. So thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Don.
Board of Supervisors, thank you. My name is Don Smith. I represent Adventist Health on the Board of Directors of the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. And Amanda, want to echo what she was saying in terms of our board. We have had a great season with Amanda at the helm as our executive director. And we've learned a lot of things under her leadership, she's brought some things forward. We've looked at some things in the past, and we're excited about moving forward. We're excited about the opportunity. The board is excited about this new structure of collaboration and moving forward in partnerships, not only with the EDC, but with business organizations across our county and with the county itself. Meeting with Ben, we've talked about ways that the chamber can be a voice for the good things that the county is doing as it regards to business and those kinds of things. But again, when we come back to it, we think about, keeping the doors to the visitor center open, but also our ability to advocate, and that word, using it carefully, but advocate for good business opportunities all across our county. And we're excited about what the future holds with this new structure moving forward and viability. So we thank you for listening and hearing this in consideration.
All right. So with that, who was first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I think this is a good plan. We've talked a lot about efficiencies over this year, and this is a way to bring efficiencies to both of these organizations. My questions were answered because, as you know, I have concerns about public dollars being used for a a private or membership benefit. So as long as the funds are used for public benefit only, I'm okay with that. And also, if the grant does come through and is funded, if those funds could be repaid, I'm okay with that too. Yeah, moving forward, this is a plan that works for me. Is this intended as one time?
Yes, so that's what the discussion
better.
has been, and that's how the memo's framed. It's not a annual operating agreement. So yes, this is considered a one-time.
Okay, so will there be a contract that's drafted that has this non-advocacy language in it?
Yes. it's-
Different advocacy, Dawn?
Yeah. So because the change in director happened and the boards for the two organizations moving fairly quickly, there just wasn't time to get an agreement together.
Okay.
We wanted to get in front of the board before Amanda was done with her tenure with the chamber. But yes, we plan to put in an agreement together.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you. Starting with the chamber portion of it, I have been in support of assisting them, since we were talking about the budget with regard to the visitor center. I think that that's a county function that we've supported them for years on that county function. We own that facility. The intent was years ago that, we would help provide funding to operate that visitor center and keep the doors open. So I think that with regard to that part of it, we can have language in that agreement showing that the 34,000 is for the visitor center portion of the operation to continue to run that. I think that's would be very simple language to show that. As far as the EDC, I know our board was in favor, back when we talked about this before, of looking at further opportunities in collaboration, is my recollection. And I think, staff's gone out and worked with those groups, and we have an opportunity to have some more collaboration with, we don't necessarily have to have multiple organizations that are kind of doing the same thing. So I think the more we can collaborate, the better. And this is an opportunity to get that started. And with this, funding for this year, I think we have more opportunities to continue to work with the Chamber, the EDC, and other groups to even make further forward movement in trying to organize better and collaborate better. I think the the Economic Development Corporation, one of our significant priorities is economic development, and we already have a partnership with them. So I think it's important that we assist with that. We don't know what the USDA grant funding is going to come through. So, I'm happy to get paid back if that funding comes through and if everything fits with their audits. But at the same time, if it doesn't, then I'm not worried about that. I think it's supporting what we already are involved in with trying to improve our economic development. Thank you.
All right. Supervisor Spatier, and then I'll go to you, Lars. Or, Lars, go ahead.
Okay. Lars Ewing, Public Services Director. I realize this is before public input, but just in a response to Supervisor Rasmussen, it's important to note that the county does not own the facility. The county is under an operating agreement with the city and, to be quite honest, originally with the state as well, Caltrans. So the county is responsible for maintenance of the facility and the grounds. The building itself and the grounds are owned by the city of Lakeport. So I just wanted to add that clarity for you.
All right. Go ahead, Supervisor Spatier.
I want to start out with Ms. Martin. I know that you are on your way out, and thank you for not stepping away, because that would be easy. Thank you for still being here. Thank you for continuing to advocate, and appreciate that you have had both feet in the entire time and still right now. And so it's so easy to walk away when you know your time is getting short, and but here you are continuing to advocate. Yes, I appreciate the comments from Vice Chair Rasmussen in the sense that there was kind of a hope for conversations of how do we work better together. That happened fast, but I'm hoping it's not the last of the conversations. I will say today I'm in support. I want to make sure that we get good reporting on the return on the investment, on what it is that we get from continuing this relationship or starting this relationship, rebooting the relationship. But I think it's important that we figure out what's the measurements that we want and how do we enhance those measurements in the future so that we are doing a service to those that are coming to our community to know where to go, and so on and so forth. Personal statement. I can appreciate that maybe in a contract we say this money cannot be used for such and such. But I still want to see, and that's going to be based on you guys, but I want to see you guys advocating as hard as you can for your businesses. And then that's if that's disagreeing with us in the sense of what we're about to enact here at this board, that's where your voice is most important, and I don't think that should have any bearing on this relationship, because we need to understand and hear all points and angles at all times and not quiet those voices for the future so that we better understand what we're doing and the impact we have. I know it's not in there, but we spoke about membership. I hope we can still do that. If we can be a member of CSAC, a member of NACO, a member of RCRC, who are advocacy groups, I don't see why we can't be embedded in the Lake County Chamber of Commerce as well. I just don't see that as being a problem. Again, just me looking for future conversation on that. The Lake County Economic Development Corporation has done a great job of not only providing resources for our local businesses, but bringing people from the outside as well with all of their marketing that they do, all of their, not conferences, but their expos and their other gatherings that they put together. I just spoke to a supervisor from Trinity County. He's going to be coming down in January for the expo that's happening. And I'm sure he's one of many that will be coming into the county because it's a regional draw. So I appreciate the programs that they do. I think there's a lot of overlap between the two groups. I think there's still a lot of overlaps with other groups. And that's when I'll mention the last one, which is the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce. They also run a visitor center. They have not requested money. Closed mouths don't get fed. They probably should ask. But at the same time, I'm hoping that in the future, there's more talks of better collaboration and better consolidation of the same type of agency so we can work better countywide. And I apologize, my last comment. I know we also had a visitor center in the Lucerne area, I believe it used to be, if I'm correct. And I think that was a loss when that shut down. And so I don't want to see the one in Lakeport shut down. I don't want to see the one in Clear Lake shut down. I think we need to continue to have easy to access resources for people within our community and coming from outside of our community to make sure that they know where to go and what services we're offering here in the area. So today I'll be supporting this offer, and thank you for bringing it to us.
All right. Supervisor Owen?
Well, I'm excited. This is something I wanted to see, and I'm very much in support of it. I think it's important, and I think that the work that you're doing is important. I did go and visit with Amanda. Thank you. Just went poof. So Miss Amanda at the visitor center, and we had some really good talks. We also talked about some things that are missing in our community, the pamphlets and that kind of stuff. So we did bring up some of those issues. There's also, though I'm very much supportive of this, one of the things that was brought to my attention recently was having things available when visitors are here, quite often on the weekends. And so Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of times, and that's something I think needs to be looked at, is having visitor centers open when we have them in the area. So I hope that we can look at that as well, and expanding our visitor centers back to what they were, a decade or more ago. I remember there was one in Middletown, there was one in Lucerne. So looking at that expansion, I think if at all possible, and perhaps with you guys teaming up, that might be something that we could really realize. So no, I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, with that, I know that we had heard from a couple of folks in the public, but I'm going to open it up for the public in case there's anyone else that'd like to make a comment on this item. Go ahead, come on up.
Good morning, Tom Lasik. I also want to thank Ms. Martin for her service to the community and to the chamber. When this was brought up a few weeks ago, my concern was not that they needed money or anything like that, but it'd be done properly and that there's a way forward. I think Supervisor Pyska was concerned about it, and rightly so. So the money's going to the EDC, which is a fine organization, as is the Chamber of Commerce. I just ask that it be made in a way that is contractual, is binding. It's not construed as a gift or anything else that would then cause, the county to have to retract it for procedural reasons. So it has a written service agreement or contract. You need the reporting, you need the auditing. It needs to be for something specific, like the visitor center or a specific program. So it's just as a friendly reminder. I think from what I hear, you're all on board on that. I still have a concern with conflict of interest as being the county funding supervisors as board members themselves. I don't see a problem with individual board members, joining any group. That's a First Amendment privilege that we all have. But I do have a concern with conflict if the Board of Supervisors of the county itself sponsors that. I think you all have the resources to do it individually. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, come on up, Wilda.
Hello, Board. Wilda Schock, Economic Development Consultant with the City of Lakeport and Secretary of the Lake County Tourism Improvement District. As you know, I have a background in destination marketing, visitor services, economic development, workforce development. With those experiences, I feel in a unique position to encourage your support, your continuing support. Think beyond the immediate, think into the future, the potential for collaboration. I think some of the work that's underway, in particular what Nicole and the EDC has started with a business roundtable. There's the opportunity for more networking with some of our business associations, including the Clear Lake Chamber, some of the other volunteer entities in the county, bringing a stronger force for that. I think there's a lot of potential. And I would like to read a statement from Brian Fisher, the Executive Director of the TID, who is traveling. So officially, the Lake County Economic Development Corporation and the Lake County Chamber of Commerce are vital partners in advancing the mission of the Lake County Tourism Improvement District. Together, we have successfully delivered high-impact conferences highlighting Lake County's diverse industries and produced 2 professional visitor guides that promote the very best our county has to offer. These collaborations have strengthened our economy, elevated our visibility, and created measurable benefits for local businesses. For these reasons, the Lake County Tourism Improvement District strongly endorses bridge funding for these 2 essential organizations whose continued work is critical to sustaining Lake County's growth and success. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Come on up.
My Board of Supervisors, thank you so much. I'm Michelle Carson, Chair of the Lake County Certified Tourism Ambassador Program, which is under the umbrella of the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. I first want to thank Nicole, Flora, and Amanda Martin for all the work that they do. I just want to, Helen, to your point of, and Bruno's too, of working with the other chamber, with the Clear Lake Chamber. I want to offer up the CTA program to help with some of that bridging. I totally agree that that is a direction we should be heading, and looking at other visitor center locations. I'm fairly new to the county, so I wasn't aware of a Middletown and a Lucerne visitor center, but totally agree they should be in those areas. So if there's a way the CTAs can be involved in that, And Helen, to your point of having visitor centers open on weekends when tourists are here, would love to offer up seeing if there's a way CTAs can be involved with helping staff that. I'm speaking on behalf of all of them, and we'll see if we can get some visitors, but I would love to explore that. So thank you. Thank you for your consideration for all of this.
Thank you.
you.
There's not any other comment. Come on up.
Good afternoon, Board. Margot Kambara, Lake County resident. My comments are based on written public comment sent earlier this morning. Thank you for your commitment to budget and fiscal stewardship and quality outcomes, priorities identified during your governance workshop in March. In that spirit, I respectfully recommend against the requested fund stabilization for Lake County Economic Development Corporation, EDC, and Lake County Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber, as it's presented to you now. As Supervisor or Vice Chair Rasmussen has suggested, I see that as a way forward to meet the needs of the community, the business community, and to preserve the independence of your board and that of the county. To have funds allocated for a specific line item rather than a nebulous contribution for administrative costs. I think that is a good way forward. But to continue my prepared remarks, so in that spirit of your governance workshop, I respectfully suggest that you take a closer look at the idea of that shared executive director, because if it's just funds for administrative costs, it weakens accountability, blurs governance, and misaligns with outcome-based funding. For transparency and accountability, project and program funding is preferred to administrative subsidies to pay salaries. County-funded work should have a defined scope, defined outputs and outcomes, metrics, and periodic reporting tied to payment. This approach reflects Supervisor Sabatier's interest in identifying metrics to gauge program effectiveness, such as for the TID, the Tourism Improvement District. And to support the Chamber's Visitor Center work, a better solution is to enter a performance-based agreement with the Chamber for defined scope of work, quarterly metrics, and defined expected outcomes with payments tied to milestones. And this approach aligns with the principles of good governance, transparency, and accountability. Similarly, to support EDC, performance-based contracts offer a better path. Consider a request for proposal with defined outputs. From a management perspective, a single executive director accountable to two separate boards invites conflicts of priority, diluted accountability, and opaque supervision. EDC and the Chamber provide services that benefit Lake County, as do several nonprofit organizations in the county. If the county stabilizes EDC Chamber revenues, other nonprofits and business associations will reasonably request parity. To preserve fairness, your board should avoid open-ended stabilization and instead adopt neutral eligibility frameworks for public grants, for public benefit, measurable outcomes,
Can you wrap up,
match
please?
requirements, and audit rights. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Yes, come on up.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and members of the board. My name is Autumn Carsey. I'm a local business owner and proud to serve as a board member on the Lake County Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today in support of restoring funding for our county visitor center operated through the Chamber of Commerce. The visitor center is the front door to Lake County. It is often the first interaction for tourists, new residents, and business prospects within our community. From welcoming visitors to showcasing local attractions, providing maps, referrals, and connections, the Visitor Center directly drives tourism dollars into our local economy. Every dollar invested here multiplies into lodging, dining, shopping, and returns visits, which sustain our local economy and our small businesses. While our chamber and its volunteers dedicate countless hours to running a fully functioning visitor center that requires constant staffing, materials, and outreach, passion alone is not enough. It takes a real investment to keep our doors open, brochures stocked, phones answered, and websites updated. The county has funded this initiative in the past, and we are simply asking you to restore that proven support. Other counties treat their visitor centers as essential public infrastructure for tourism and economic development. For example, Mariposa County funds its chambers to operate the visitor center at over $200,000 per year, with multi-year contracts up to $765,000. Tuolumne County dedicates a portion of its lodging tax, generating more than $1.5 million annually for tourism promotion. El Dorado has provided hundreds of thousands of dollars in support to Chamber's visitors initiatives. Against those benchmarks, our ask today is conservative, but it would have an outsized impact here in Lake County. As someone who contributes to the Cannabis Tax Fund, I cannot think of a better reinvestment of those dollars than ensuring Lake County has a welcoming, professional, and fully restored visitor center. This is not just about supporting an organization, it's about supporting every business, every attraction, and every job that benefits from the tourism economy. We ask you today to renew your investment in the Visitors Center so that we can continue showcasing Lake County, welcoming visitors, and fueling the economic viability of our community. Thank you for your time and your continued commitment to Lake County's future.
Thank you. All right, if there's no other comments, I'll bring it back to the board. Is there any on Zoom? No. All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Vice Chair? Or, I don't know who's first.
I just want to quickly apologize for misstating the ownership. I know there's a lot of moving parts to that of the facility, but I think the important point is it was built with public funds and it's publicly owned. And the chamber has been the operator with the intent that it be a visitor center. Thank you.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Just wanted to say two things. I appreciate the public comments. I'm cautiously approaching those comments in the sense of we're talking about a 1-year statement today of what we would do, but it suddenly sounded like we have a new decades-long rebirth of the future of continued providing funds. And I want to be careful that we are talking about a 1-year contract and then looking again later on to see how that's working out. Also, I don't think we've ever talked about just gifting funds and saying good luck with it. Let's see what happens. You will be coming back with a contract, correct? And we will be reviewing that contract as a board. It's not going to happen behind doors because it's within the margins of what you can do.
Correct. As I said before, just because of the speed of the two organizations joining and the transition with the directors, wanted to bring this item to board consideration before we had an agreement prepared, but we will be coming with one.
And I just want to make a final statement just because the contract will come back to us. It's the same comments I make to the Tourism Improvement District. I would like to know how you're ensuring to advertise the entire county when a visitor comes to approach a visitor center to ensure that we're not just advertising very specific areas of Lake County, because the entire county needs economic boost all over. And so if we can implement something of that kind of language in our expectation and reporting, that would be great.
Sure, we'd
from
be
my
happy
personal
to.
perspective.
All right. Let's see. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I move that we transfer $60,000 from fiscal year 25-26 Economic Development, Housing and Risk Reduction allocation from Cannabis Fund 064 to the Lake County Economic Development Corporation for $26,000 and the Lake County Chamber of Commerce for $34,000, with the expectation that our contract is coming, or just make the transfer to the fund.
That can be made a part of the motion or via direction for your board.
I'm good with direction.
Okay, direction.
Okay.
So I'll second the motion.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. All right, that covers this item of the agenda. Thank you.